Welcome to Full Fashion Finish Strong Friday. I've appreciated all the feedback, the testimonials, and the support I've been receiving from people, and this is one of the most beloved features already, even though it's only been a few weeks. Seems like everybody needs a little bit of end-of-week motivation so that they're not casual about their success, but that they push through to a higher level of accomplishment and success and ultimately victory. But I've also been talking to people this week that have been just a little bit challenged or discouraged by the slow start to certain things in the year. But I want to encourage them today with this message is that you have everything you need. But as I like to say, you've got to get your Captain Kirk on. Now, I know right now that makes no sense, but stick with me. In a few moments, I think it'll begin to make some sense. So I've been talking to people this week, and they're beginning to lose hope already. The new year has just started, but many people are already beginning to lose momentum as their initial attempts at change have failed. What have you already stopped doing? What haven't you done that you said you would do? And why? In a new year, resolutions are important, but they're not going to do you much good if you don't have any resolve. You've got to be able to stick to it and see past something that may not be immediately successful. And most people believe a lack of something is the reason they aren't successful or are not accomplishing their goals. I don't have the money. I don't have the connections. I can't afford the gym. These are simply rationales that make you feel better about your circumstances. It comforts you in your inaction, and it makes you feel like it's not your fault. Dare I say, the victim. And while comforting temporarily, it's dangerous. Why? Because that frame of mind takes full control of your destiny out of your hands and puts it in the hands of fate, happenstance, circumstance. But I'm asking you today to get control of your life, and you cannot fail if you begin again and begin anew. And as Henry Ford says, failure is simply an opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. So under the intoxication of enthusiasm and a desire to change, some people falsely believe that the first attempt should be their only attempt, that just making up their mind to improve and get better will be enough. Look, as an eternal optimist, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but no one is going to be successful on their first and only attempt. It's so rare that it's like lightning striking. It takes try after try after try to be successful. And you've all heard the Thomas Edison story that he endured 10,000 failures at the light bulb. It's so cliche and so overused, dare I use it even now? Except I'm recording with lights. And when my light bulb went out, I realized how important it was that Thomas Edison did not give up. And I'm telling you, it's too early in the year to give up. Try again. December 31st is not the true crossroads, even though some people believe it is crossing over into a new year, and I understand it. But look, with Chinese New Year and other parts of the world on the Julian calendar, etc., everybody's not in sync. So December 31st is not the magical true crossroads. Today is. Each day, you have to make up your mind which avenue to pursue, to stay on course, to focus on your highest and best use, and to run your race. So take another look. You do have everything you need if you get your Captain Kirk on. Now, some of you know me very well and understand that I'm a big Trekkie. Now, I'm a Trekkie from the day long past with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and DeForest Kelley and that entire crew. And so in this example, if you remember this, there's this cheesy character called the Gorn. And it was Captain Kirk versus the Gorn in the classic Trek series. In the name of the episode is The Arena. I would invite you to go look at it. You can look at it on YouTube or on CBS.com. It's a great episode that will have a lot of meaning for you metaphorically and certainly as the foundation of today's meeting. But in this particular episode, Captain Kirk's adversary was formidable. 3 times his strength, twice his size, and ultimately someone that should have been able to defeat Captain Kirk fairly readily. The challenges you face are real, and optimistic thinking alone will not get you out of them. Like Captain Kirk, you will have to fight. But if traditional methods aren't working, you will have to evaluate your current methods, evolve your approach, and begin doing things differently. So in this episode, The Arena, Captain Kirk began to look at what was around him. He had been told by the people that put him on the planet that everything he needed to defeat his enemy was on the planet. Captain Kirk understood that brute strength wasn't going to be enough to do it, so he began to engage his intellect, his mind power. So around him, he began to see coal. He began to see diamonds, sulfur, the makings of raw, crude dynamite and gunpowder. But as I always like to say, your solution is always in your situation. When Captain Kirk began to evaluate what was around him and began seeing it in new ways, it began to create a solution. And I like to call this RI3, and that's what equals victory. Number one is R, it's raw materials. What do you have in your environment? What do you have in your midst? What products do you have? What books have you read that have great ideas? What people can you connect and network with? Around you are things that you've not brought together and coalesced into a strategy. But then in order to look at the raw materials differently, you've got to engage the first I, imagination. How can you begin to see yourself and your circumstances differently? Begin to elevate your mind, as we talk about in the You Change Now, day one. Begin to elevate your mind and to broaden the way you see the things that you're engaged in. But then number two, the I, is ingenuity. You've now got to begin through imagination to see these things in a different way. You've got to be able to see them applied in a different method. You've got to be able to see, oh, that's a revenue stream. Oh, that's a lead source. Oh, here's a better way for me to get a higher close rate, or go back to my clients and sell them additional products. And then the third I in the I3 is invention, because the raw materials by themselves aren't valuable. Imagination, not acted on, is not enough. Ingenuity, to see things in a new way, won't mean anything until you coalesce all of that into a new invention. And in many ways, you're reinventing yourself. So as you combine them in new ways and take a fresh look at the ingredients that you have in your midst, you've got to evolve and expand your approach. And as Captain Kirk made that crude dynamite, that crude gunpowder, you'll see here you'll be able to defeat your circumstances, rise above your challenges, and the results will be explosive. What was Captain Kirk fighting for? Obviously, he was fighting for his life. That hung in the balance, but he was focused on a bigger picture. He was fighting for his crew and his ship. And in the Wrath of Khan 2, Spock says it best as he had just saved the ship, and then he says to Captain Kirk that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. If for a moment you can take your mind off of yourself, off of your circumstances, and begin to see the needs of the many, and for the products you represent, the things that you do, and the things you were called here to do on this earth, and the people to serve, if you could begin to focus on the raw materials that are available, through imagination, ingenuity, and invention, figure out how to serve the needs of the many, you know I believe that as I serve, I deserve, and that you will be taken care of. And you do have everything you need. When you think about that same movie, The Wrath of Khan 2, the updated version, when Kirk asks Spock, as they're about to enter into a new trial with the Klingons, how are the new recruits who are untested going to react? Spock says one of the greatest lines I've ever heard. As with all living things, each according to their gifts. You and I have been blessed to be in this industry, in this profession, where we can make a great living off of our gifts, where we can serve great numbers of people and meet their needs and help them with their desires. And there is great satisfaction in working for that victory. So I'll tell you today, like Thomas Edison, don't give up. I'll tell you like Captain Kirk, look around you and see what you have in your midst and see the possibilities and see the opportunities. But I'll also tell you that you deserve only what you're willing to work for, but that you deserve to be, to do, and to have all that you're ready to put sweat equity in for. And the world needs your gifts. Again, you are uniquely gifted and you are here to serve a purpose. But now, until next time, and I think it's only fitting that I say live long and prosper, or in my customary style until next Full Fashion Finish Strong Friday, that I wish you money, power, success.